Hi everybody. So I just want to give a little bit more information bit by bit on what's going on in the video for sit that you're about to watch. So when I first start out and I'm taking the treat and just getting him into the position and giving him that treat when his butt hits the ground, you want to do that as many times as it takes until he's doing it more consistently. And then after that, when we move into adding the word, you want to add the word as soon as his butt hits the ground, so that the dogs know exactly what that word means. We don't want to say it before he gets into that position, because at that point the dog just doesn't understand what sit means. So it's very important that we mark that position with the word, and then you want to do that a few times until he's consistently doing it on his own. And then after that, you can start to tell him sit and expect him to be able to understand what it is that you're asking him to do. Another little tidbit, so in the video that you're about to watch, you'll see Spaghetti coughs up a treat. It's perfectly normal. Typically, I'll just be like, freebie, because they got the treat for doing the command and then they coughed it up and got it again without having to follow any commands. And so I joke around and call it a freebie. It's fairly normal. The training treats that I use, I break them up into smaller pieces because, especially with young puppies, you don't need that whole piece to treat the dog. And so if we break it up into smaller pieces, they're getting that little reward, which is all that they need. Also, dogs only have a certain attention span. It's going to range at this age from 10 to 20 minutes. And so you have that amount of time to really practice the commands, and you want to do it as many times as possible in that time frame. If we're giving them larger pieces of treat, then they're going to spend that attention span eating the treat instead of being able to do more and more of the sit or down or whatever it is that we're working on. And so I break it up into small pieces. If they cough it up, they're typically pretty fine. If you worry about it, learn the doggy Heimlich. More than happy to make a video if you guys would like on how to do doggy CPR and the doggy Heimlich maneuver. Dogs are very in the moment. What am I doing right now that I'm being rewarded for? And so in the video, you'll see Spaghetti trying to jump up when I tell him sit. That's because he's trying to reach the treat that's in my hand. But we don't want to treat him when he's doing that. We want to treat him when he's in the right position. Also, try to avoid giving them treats if their feet are up, because then that's what they're going to think that sit is. It's very important that we're very clear with the command and the position that we're wanting them to get into. When you're starting the lure training, you literally want to have that treat in your hand and put it right up to their face. Right up to their face. And you're going to bring their head back for the sit position. This is going to bring their head back and their butt down. If you bring it up too high, the dog's going to jump up to try to get the treat. So you really want that right in front of them, and then just lead them into the position that you're looking for. This will be the same with any of the lure training that we do. We do lure training with mostly sit and down. If we do roll over, then we'll use lure training. But when you're trying to get them to follow it, you want it right in front of them. If you hold it out here or up here, they're going to move forward or move up to follow that treat. So luring little puppies is easier to start when we're on the ground because they're small. But as they start to understand, you're going to want to stand up, because what happens if you're sitting down, a lot of times dogs think that we're playing when we're sitting down. And so you want to stand up so that the dog follows the command. In the next video, I'll show you guys how to do down and how to be able to back that command up from the luring position. When we're teaching down, we're right there next to him. It's not reasonable to always have to be right in front of your dog to teach them down, but that's later on. I'm getting ahead of myself. But you should be able with sit to get to the point where you can stand up and be a step back or a few steps back and tell them sit with your hand signal, and they listen. Hand signals are very important because dogs communicate through body language. And so if we add their communication style to our communication style, they're going to have a better understanding of what it is that we're asking them. You can make any word for any command, and you can make any hand signal for any command. The ones that I do are, it's super simple to go from the lure training to create those hand signals for them. So that's why I choose the ones that I choose. I've seen several different for an array of commands. And so really you could make sit whatever word that you want sit to be, and you could use whatever hand signal that you want it to be. For me, because I'm luring them with the treat in my hand like this, then this becomes the sit. And then down, when we start luring for down, it's really easy to just add the finger down for that. So really you guys can use any hand signal, any word that you want. Just because it's what I use in my video doesn't mean that's what you have to stick with. But hand signals are important for that body language aspect, and also hopefully eventually you'll be able to get your dog's attention and give them a hand signal without having to use a verbal command and they follow it. It's just a little bit more advanced level of training. At the end of the video, you'll see the finished result of the sit for Spaghetti. So the first time I tell him sit, he sits pretty fast. He's starting to, he's picking things up so fast that it's really hard to be able to get in here and make videos because I have one chance to do this from scratch for you guys. The second time I tell him to sit, you could tell he gets a little distracted, and then after a few seconds he sits. But you notice I'm not sitting there telling him sit, 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 sit. Otherwise the command becomes sit, 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 sit. What we want to do when we know that the dog is understanding what we're asking is give them the command and give them a few seconds to respond. If he were to run off and go the other direction, I would get his attention and say sit again. But because he was right there and I gave him a moment to kind of think and process and focus, let's remember Spaghetti's still very young, he followed through with the command and ended up with the reward. And so just be patient with them when you're giving them a command. Watch their body language. If they look like they're just going to take off and they're super not going to listen, then you can say the command again. Otherwise, just give them a second to process what it is that we're asking. Hi everybody, welcome to mine and Spaghetti's training channel. So today we're going to work on sit. I'm going to show you guys how to do lure training. When I'm teaching dogs how to do their no bite, their commands, I don't do it in a way that I have to touch their body. I use the treat to teach them how to get into the position that we're looking for. So for sit, I start with the treat in my finger like this. I get it right in front of them and I bring their head back. Yes. And I give them the treat as soon as their butt hits the ground. I always want to make sure that his paws are not up. Yes. Good boy. And then I mark it with the word yes. It's just the same as clicker training, but I don't want to carry around a clicker. Yes. Good boy. So I'm going to use the lure training and marking as soon as he gets into the position a few times. Yes. Good boy. And now that he's doing it regularly, I'm going to go ahead and add the word sit as soon as his butt hits the ground. Come here. Come here. I know. I know. Sit. Yes. Good boy. Yes, I know. We're doing so good today, Spaghetti. Sit. Yes. Good boy. Sit. Yes. Good boy. Sit. Yes, good boy. So I'm going to do it a few more times. Sit. Yes, good boy. Sit. Yes, good boy. Good boys. Hey everybody. So now that we've done the lure training with Spaghetti, I can go ahead. He's guessing. We don't get treats for guessing, Spaghetti. Now that we've done the lure training and taught him what sit means, now we can start to say the word before he gets into the position and expect him to know what it means. So I do hand signals, and since I lured him like this, put your paw down. Good boy. Then typically this becomes my sit signal. I'm gonna tell him, sit. Gotta get his attention because he's still young. Hey, Spaghetti, sit. Yes, good boy. Hey, sit. Yes, yes. So I don't want to treat him when he jumps up like that because otherwise he's gonna think that that's what gets him the treat. So I'm gonna bring him over here. Sit. Yes, good boy. Still marking the command with the word yes. Oh. Gotta make him a little smaller for you. You gotta chew him, baby. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Sit. Yes, good boy. There you go. Come here. Come here. Hey. Sit. Yes, good boy. Good boy, Spaghetti. You're so smart. Come here. Come here. Sit. Yes, good boy. Come here. Come on, let's do one more. Sit. Yes. Sit. Yes, good boy. Spaghetti, sit. Yes, good boy. What a good boy, Spaghetti. Come here. Come here. Sit. Yes, good boy. Good boy.